how you show what you're about is this game ain't about you. This game has nothing to do with you. This game is you taking your gifts, what you've had, what you've worked on, and what you've developed to as a baller, and how can I now serve that onto an 11-a-side pitch, or serve that to my team, serve that to my coach, serve that to my fans, and how can I make a real impact on this game? What's going on, my ballers, athletes, and people? Welcome to Ball and Live, the new show which is all about football cultural conversations to empower and inspire you. I'm your host, Lamar Aaron, and I've been through the academy system, and I'm here to package my knowledge and give it to you. On this episode, we're going to be getting into the conversation of why some players make it, why some players don't, even if they are a baller. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you tap in. Let's go. Athletes are thinking about so much in this period of time. We're in transfer season, all of that. And the thing is there's this common question that happens during that time, right? There's a common question. And a lot of it happens, like I said, it doesn't matter what level. Could be first team, could be in the academy level, under 21s. It don't really matter what the level is. And the common conversation that happens is, how did this one make it? How did that one get released? Oh, but he's a baller. What happened? And for me, I spent 10 plus years after West Ham's academy asking myself the same thing, going down this rabbit hole of trying to figure it out and understand. And as you mature and as you start doing these things and you think about it, you start understanding that, and you have to picture it like this. There's this line, right? And on one side, there's a baller and there's a footballer. So on this episode, on this conversation today, I want to talk about ballers v footballers, what the differences are, and why the best players know how to meet that in the middle. As I said, picture the line. And on this side, you have a baller. On this side, you have a footballer. And in the middle, the best players are the ones in the middle. And what I mean by a baller is this. When you look at guys that go down goals, that play five-a-side, right? They're absolute ballers, right? They have all the raw ability, they have the talent, they have everything, right? They nutmeg people. Like I said, I'm from South London, it's where I'm raised. It's what we're built on, right? We're built to play in the streets, in the cages. I remember going out to the cage almost every day. And in that cage, we're focusing on 1v1s, the skills, all those things that a lot of people think that make a footballer an absolute baller, right? But then on the other side, as I said, you got a footballer. Now, the footballer side, I started to realize and started to understand that this game is about impact. This game is about goals. This game is about how can I contribute to my team. And yet sometimes we sit here and we look and we think to ourselves that there are some people that have made it into football and we think, how have they got there? And the fact of the matter is that they play on that footballer side, right? They're on the footballer side. So it's that ballers v footballers. And there's something that I've just understood, that footballers 9 times out of 10 will always win. Like I saw an interview with Eze, and he said the same thing. And we all kind of are familiar with the story that Eze has, the story that the journey he's been on as a footballer, right? The journey he's been on is kind of a lot of people's journeys. So if you're out there and you're starting your journey right now and you're at a point where I ain't signed, or you just got signed, or you're figuring it out, here's the thing that you really need to understand. That a lot of us strive to be a baller. But when you look at what Eze said in his interview, he turned around and he said, when I got to QPR, everything changed. You could see what changed for him was, he said that you had to understand what the game is about. You have to understand what the game is about. And it's not how I want it to be played. And a lot of ballers out there, we focus on how we enjoy football, the way we want to be played. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I mean is when you look at these players that are doing their thing on a five-a-side, or they're doing their thing thinking that it's about the entertainment value and the flicks and the tricks, right? But what you don't realize, there's another side that you have to bring together. And Eze said it himself. He said what the difference was going through all these different academy trials, going to all these different clubs that he went through, being released, being told no, next trial. And he said once he got to QPR, he realized, oh, the game is about winning. The game is about goals, impact. How do I play my role? And you can look at the league, like the Premier League right now, or even just all the leagues that are around, and you can actually see that for yourself, that there are a lot of players that go to that top level. Now, I'm not going to mention any names because at the end of the day, I'm here to support athletes and empower and inspire athletes. But what I will say is this, and I'm sure you guys will be able to read between the lines, is there are a lot of players that end up going to the top clubs after being able to be at a certain other team or a certain other level, maybe in a different league, and they go to the bigger clubs and they struggle. But one thing I've learned is the higher the league you go, the more is required of you as a footballer, right? The more impact you're required. So this is what I mean by there's ballers v footballers. As I said, the baller focuses a lot on that entertainment side, but the footballer is all about what is my contribution and what do I do? And like I said, you got to picture it like it's this line, right? And the line goes from left to right, baller on the left, footballer on the right. And it's about how do you swing between them, right? And there's players out there that know how to swing between that. And some people are more on the footballer side and some people are on the baller side, right? Look at all those players who you would sit there and say, oh, all they do is skills and all they do is this and all they do is that. But what are they actually doing in the game? It's great to look at. But when you look at these managers who are picking players, when you look at these people who are buying certain players, you start realizing that they're not buying these players for anything else but impact on the team or impact on the way they want to play. Every player has a role and a responsibility. And 9 times out of 10, when you look at just life itself, footballers will always win because the footballer mentality is, I play my role, this is how I contribute to my team, and this is the impact I give. And a lot of people focus heavy on that side. And for me, you can go down from the Premier League all the way down to non-league, go to other leagues abroad. When you look at that, especially just the English tier of football, you can start looking at that and you think to yourself, okay, cool. The lower it goes, the more footballer it becomes. The more less that there are ballers and the more footballer focused. And the reason why is because they're trying to get promoted. They're trying to win games. And unfortunately, skills and entertainment don't win you that. Yes, it brings money into the club. Yes, it does all those things. But when you look at it, a baller isn't going to necessarily advance your club to the next level, right? But a footballer will, because the right back does what the right back's supposed to do. A left back does what a left back's supposed to do. A centre back does what a centre back's supposed to do. Whatever position you are, striker, so-and-so, understanding your role and doing what you're supposed to do. And that's why footballers make it. Because at the end of the day, a manager says, I would rather somebody who I can rely on than somebody who has all the skills and technical ability in the world, but does nothing for me in a game. Like I said, I grew up in the era of Joga Bonito. When you're watching Joga Bonito, this era is now growing up on a generation of top baller, where it's 1v1s and all these things. And people are looking at that and getting absolutely gassed and thinking, oh my God, he's so lit, he's a baller, he's this and he's that. But yo, transfer that onto an 11-a-side pitch and they go missing. They go missing. So if you're one of those ballers out there, take the Eze story. Take it, look at that, have a look at that and think to yourself, hold on a minute. If I want to make it, there has to be a way of how do I marry the baller side with the footballer side, marry that in the middle, because I can't just take that baller side and think that's what's going to happen. Because I guarantee you a lot of the time, I wouldn't even say guarantee, let me change the word. I would say a lot of the time it won't happen. As I said, there are many players in the Premier League alone right now who struggle to play there. They go abroad, they look like they're the best thing since sliced bread. Each league requires a different version of you. Like I said, you've got to picture it as this level thing. And some leagues you can flourish more onto the baller side, but if you're going to go to the top levels, you have to learn, how do I balance that into the middle? How do I bring that football IQ? How do I bring that understanding of the game, the understanding of my role? How do I bring the impact? I need to score goals. I need to create. What is my job here? But then you marry that with your ability and your talent. Like, that's the sweet spot. That's the Messis of the world, right? That's the Ronaldos of the world. What are you there to show? You want to show that you're a baller? Okay, great. Take that to goals. Take that to your 5-a-side pitch. Take that to a league that is happy for you to do that. But at the top of the top of the top of the level of the top levels, they're asking you, okay, once you've gone past that, man, now what? What's your EP? What's your end product? Is there a cross? Is there an assist? Is there a chance created? Have I scored a goal? This is the mindset that you got to get into, you know. And for me, don't get me wrong, I enjoy being a baller. I enjoy balling out. That was one of my favorite things. Of course, you want to show what you're about. You want to show your ability. But how you show what you're about is, this game ain't about you. This game has nothing to do with you. This game is you taking your gifts, what you've had, what you've worked on, and what you've developed to as a baller, and how can I now serve that onto an 11-a-side pitch, or serve that to my team, serve that to my coach, serve that to my fans, and how can I make a real impact on this game? And that's just what it's about. I think there's another interview, and you can go on the media platform, our media platform, the Baller's House, and it talks from Lewis Skelly. It's the pursuit of greatness, and the pursuit of greatness really is how do I take my gifts and how do I end up getting better and better and better so this can serve and impact others. When you look at that scale between baller and footballer, and like I said, you can see the Messis are in the middle, you can see the Ronaldos are in the middle, you can see some of the top players at the highest level are in the middle. Some then lean over to footballer, some then lead over to baller. But as you can see, it's in that middle barrier. If you live too much on that baller side, then hey, you're gonna have to be happy with the outcome. If you live on that footballer side, be happy with the outcome. So as I said, we're in that off season, we're in that conversation, and the conversation really is ballers v footballers. And which one are you gonna be? There's a new normal in football. There's a new normal in football. And if people have watched the game, they'll realize the game shifts left and right? The game's always evolving, the game's always changing, things are adapting. And roles, positions, all these things are changing, right? And right now we're in a time of football where football's become very systematic, very formation based, right? And the footballer side is becoming way more important just as much as that baller side. And that's just whether you like it or not. Look at the top levels. A lot of the teams are catching up. A lot of the teams are catching up. You don't normally get that top 4, top 6 no more in the Premier League. We're now just fluctuating between multiple. Yeah, there's teams that majority of the time fighting for the Premier League and they stay at the top. But now you're getting, like I said, you got the Aston Villas made it into Champions League the season before. Then you've got players like, teams like Nottingham Forest and all these other teams that have these other players. And we're looking at that, and you have to understand the game's evolved. And one of the biggest things is that ballers v footballers. And this is why the transfer market and this period of time brings this conversation about. Actually, do you know what? Let me tell you this story. I remember the story, and I remember playing against MK Dons for the reserves. I was actually playing midfield with Ravel Morrison at the time. And if anybody knows Ravel Morrison is cold. This is when he came to West Ham. And I remember us playing against Milton Keynes. Anyway, so I remember, we came out and we're bopping. Like, we grew up this was around 2010, 2012. This is when World Cup, Spain was doing their thing and all of those things. And we grew up around them times. So we're heavily influenced by the Xavis, the Fabregases, the Iniestas, the David Silvas of the world, yeah? So I remember we're bopping now. Like, they couldn't get near us. Me and Ravel and my other midfield partners, we're just triangles all over the pitch, right? All over the pitch. And I'm just hearing my manager just bare noise, screaming. What are you doing? Play forward, do this, do that. And we're all just sitting there thinking, like, what you want about? Like, we ain't even lost the ball. We're carrying on, bopping. They're tired. Their midfield is tired now, chasing after us. And now our strikers were complaining, or what are we doing? Manager, hear him again in the ear. Anyway, so we got in at halftime, went into the changing room. And I remember our manager at the time was a guy called Ian Hendon. And he looked at us three and just asked, what are you doing? What are you doing? And we're like, confused. But each time, because he's the gaffer, you keep your mouth closed, all of that. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are we trying to win the game or not? And we're really confused right now. And he said something that really stuck with me, and which really made me understand this whole concept and this whole conversation of baller v footballers. He's like, you don't win a game by having high possession. You control a game, yes, but you need to then add impact. You need to play forward, create chances. Like, I'm like, you know what? It's true. And we went out there, we did our thing, and we ended up winning the game. But I say that story because that was one of the days that kind of sparked the interest of ballers v footballers. And yeah, like, there's many people out there that can ball, and there's many people out there that are absolutely cold. But when it comes to impacting your team, when it comes to doing what you need to do, they struggle. People just struggle. And it's because they don't know how to take that baller side onto an 11, a pitch side. And that day, it was great because it was like first half, second half, and you got to see the difference of the two. Second half was goals. Second half was chances created. First half was just a whole heap of just YouTube highlights on football of how much passing was done. People come to me all the time asking me for this advice, and they say to me, okay, but you're a baller. Like, we've seen you play. Like, how did you not make it? Or why do you think this player doesn't make it? Or even just like the normal conversations you have now with football fans talking about, oh, why is this player not so good? Oh, he's rubbish. He's this, he's that. And I said to them, look, there are three things that you must understand. Like, when you're marrying a baller and a footballer together, and there's a lot of footballers that can learn and take this. Ballers play free, but footballers play disciplined, right? Ballers play free and footballers play disciplined. How can you end up marrying a playing with some sort of freedom, but within a disciplined way? That's what the best footballers do. When you look at Messi and you look at all the play with freedom, but they do it in a disciplined way. When you look at a baller and a footballer, right? A baller doesn't make impact, but a footballer does. A baller makes impact, but a footballer does. So when you're playing this game, you have to ask yourself, like, am I making impact? Am I making an impact? Yes, I'm doing these skills. Yes, I am like using my gifts and talents, but what impact is it bringing at the end of it? Am I making a difference on this game? Am I actually going to go forth and win this game, score goals, create chances, defend my life off, be one of the best centre-backs in the world? All these things, what impact am I making? Because here's the thing, and here's the next thing that I want to give to you to be able to marry the two together, is ballers have moments and footballers have consistency. There's no point having these moments. How much ballers have you seen in this world come and go over moments? It's just moments. It's just moments. But the footballers stay because they are consistent. There are the ballers in this world that get their get into the starting 11 just based off of the fact of, again, 7 out of 10s every game, 7.5 out of game, 7.5 out of 10 every game. Then you get those ballers. They have 10 out of 10 game, and then within 3-4 games, it's like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. They've done nothing. And there's loads of them that come around. So as I said, how do you marry then? Okay, cool. Moments and consistency. But if you focus on consistency, 9 times out of 10, the moments come. Look at players like De Bruyne, like who's just leaving Man City now. Look at all the moments he's created, but also look at the level he's played at and the consistency he's had. He's married that creative, that talent side of him, which is the baller side of him, and he's put that together with the footballer side. And like I said, that's the key. That's the conversation here. So when we're asking why the ballers don't make it or why they're not, well, are you a baller or are you a footballer? Like, you have to ask yourself that question. And the one thing that I'm going to leave you with that I think is really important, that I think a lot of people need to carry, and I think this generation, don't get me wrong, is not doing a bad job at it, but they just need to work in the right places. Because here's the thing, loads of people work and they may put the training in or they may put the work in, but are you working in the right places? Are you intentional about where you're working? And as I said, the last thing I'm going to leave you with is ballers rely on their talent and footballers work on their talent. What are you working on? Are you intentional about what you're working on? Are you working on for impact? Are you being intentional on impact? Or are you just relying on the gift you've been given as a talent and think that's going to carry you? Like, these are 3 things. If I was you guys, take it, run with it, learn it, understand it. Because as you can see, it is evident. We're at that point of the season, as I said, it's off season. The reflection is happening. And maybe this conversation is needed. This conversation can allow you guys to see maybe where you've gone wrong. Like I said, I don't know everybody's journey, but I know from my journey and some of the things that I went through, if I could have lent more into the footballer side than just the baller side, maybe this would have been different. Maybe, just maybe. Ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you a baller? Are you a footballer? Are you going to learn to marry the two in the middle? Because at the end of the day, whatever side you choose, and you have a choice, but it's just, for me, it's something you just got to end up being happy with.